Good afternoon, Hillcrest family, and welcome to another edition of our HCC at Home virtual series. We're coming to you live from our short range practice facility, one of the best short range facilities, I think, in the Valley. And we're going to use this facility down here for something other than short game, or not short game, other than chipping and pitching today. We're going to work on some putting. I know we've hit you with a few putting videos, but today's putting video is going to be about reading greens, kind of the ins and outs, what we're looking for when we're reading greens. Also, kind of my personal philosophy when we're reading greens and whatnot. So, as always, guys, shoot us a question in the live chat section there if you have any questions, or if afterwards, please shoot us a question in the or in email or phone call if you could, please. So today we're gonna get started with just a quick short synopsis on kind of what we're all looking for when we're reading greens down here. So, for instance, when I'm looking at here this putt, we're gonna go to this first pin here. Anytime I have a putt, my first thought is what is it going to do? And my second thought is always, actually, I'll take that back. My first thought is how fast do I need to hit this, and my second thought is what is it going to do? I'll kind of show you a quick thing why I think speed is kind of what the first thing in my head, and then I kind of read next. So we're going to do a combination of both speed and reading today. So, for instance, I always show my students this drill when we're putting. My personal philosophy is that speed is a notch higher than reading, or than the breaks in order of importance. I could be way off for your personal philosophy or your other coach's personal philosophy, but as far as me, I put speed just a quick pedestal ahead of reading greens. So first off, I'm going to do a quick scenario on why I think speed is a little more important. I'm going to give you two putts, and hopefully you can see why I think that speed is a tad more important. So I'm going to hit this putt with a bad line and good speed, okay? And we'll see what we have to work with. So bad line, good speed. Okay, that was my first putt in these greens. I should have putted before, so we're actually going to flip them. Okay, no, actually, we're going to do that again. We're going to do one more putt. I want this to be a good demonstration, okay? So I now know how fast the greens are. A little slow, a little furry still, but again, bad line, good speed. Okay, so I am probably 5 feet to the right. I don't know if you can see it there. But I am 5 feet to the right, just great speed, pin high still, but just about 5 feet to the right. So I had a very poor line there, okay? And now we're gonna go. Good line, but bad speed, okay? So bad speed, but good line. It wasn't a great line, but I'm probably 3 feet shorter of where I should be. But just imagine this as wait, one more time. I got it backwards. I'm sorry. So that one was good speed, bad line, and this one's supposed to flop. I just did the same thing. So this one's now going to be bad speed, good line. Okay, bad speed, good line. Okay, so they're actually about similar putts here, but my demonstrations went to show. I can't really pull the camera closer, but the one that's bad speed is just probably a foot longer, which is sometimes big, sometimes not. But the reason why I think speed's a tad more important because if I can get the ball pin high but with a bad line, I'm not going to be too far off. If my line's way bad, then I might see a really bad second chance putt. But if I have good speed, I'm going to be somewhere near the hole. If I have awful speed but a good line, I could be 10 feet past, 15 feet short, and there's just a lot more room for error with a bad speed rather than good speed. So that's why I kind of put speed a notch higher in my personal teaching philosophy, just because if I hit the right pace on a putt, I'm going to be somewhere in the vicinity of where I want to be, pin higher, right around there. If I don't hit a good speed putt and I hammer it and I'm 15 feet, 20 feet off the green potentially, I mean, we've all been there on 9. We've had bad speed, good line, and see you later. How often would you sit there saying, I wish I would have had better speed but bad line and had a 5-footer just to the side of the hole? So that's why I think putting or speed's a tad more important, but they're both just as important. Okay, I don't think that line is just not a huge deal. I think it's a very big deal, and that's why we're going to learn today kind of how I read greens and kind of the ins and outs and what goes into reading greens. Okay, so I'm going to grab these balls real fast. Okay, and we're going to work on first kind of what the setup is when I have a putt like this. Okay, so if I hit around, I hit this ball, and this is my next putt to the green. My first thing is I'm moving around. Okay, I'm going to the side, I'm going behind it, I'm going all around, and I'm checking out the putt from every angle. Okay, I'm not gonna just handcuff myself and get behind it and think, yep, break's about a foot left. It very well may break a foot left, but you never know what you can see from a different angle, okay? Never know what contour of the green might be hiding itself from your vision from back here that kind of opens up from a different angle. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a putt from behind it and then gone to behind the hole or in front of the golf ball, and I see something different, okay? That happens all too often with me. It definitely happens in a two-man event, you know? If you're playing the best ball or a scramble and you're sitting behind the putt here and you're thinking one thing and your partner's over there, he's like, it's because you see different angles from going around the green at different moments, okay? So golf, I know, we want to be quick, we want to keep up, but on the putting green is one place where we don't want to take any shortcuts. We still want to be precise. We still want to be diligent in how we putt, but we're not going to sit here and walk up and hit it just to be able to say we play fast, okay? So this is the place on the golf course where, just as on the course, I tell you, find a routine, whether it be one practicing, two practicing, stick to it, okay? Same thing as here. Find a routine on reading greens, whether it be you walk all the way around or you just go to the low side of it or high side of it, whatever it is, find a routine and be quick with that routine, okay? Don't take your time lollygagging. You're just going all the way around and just thinking, maybe, okay? Find a routine and be quick with that routine, but make sure it's still going to allow you to give yourself some time to read the green, okay? So my routine is I'll walk up, I'll mark it, and the beauty of on the green is everyone else is putting. So if you're playing a foursome, do your work before it's your turn, okay? Don't be imposing and go behind the putter. Or someone in your group who's putting, don't be moving while they're putting. But as everyone else is kind of getting ready, fixing divots, looking at their putt, if you're not the furthest out, take that time to do your pre-routine, okay? It's one of my biggest pet peeves when someone doesn't start doing their pre-routine until it's their turn to putt. So if you're one of those people, I hope I don't play golf with you. I'm just kidding. But it is a pet peeve of mine. If I see somebody who just sat there the whole time while we all putt, and then it's their turn, and then they finally go around and start doing their thing, that's when that is an issue, and that's when time is going to come into play, okay? So do it while everyone else is taking their time and reading their greens, and be precise with it, okay? So I told you my routine is I'm walking around it as my friends are putting, my other playmates are putting. I make sure I look from every side, and then I come back, and then this is where my kind of real routine starts, okay? So in my walking around, I've picked out a high point, okay? So I've picked out a high point on what I think the break's going to do. So I know this ball, since I putted it a few times, is going to break right to left. So meaning it's going to go this way, then break towards the left. So in walking around, I've since then confirmed that with what I've seen with the slope from all the angles, and I've also confirmed it with the grain, okay? So the grain on this green is going with the slope, okay? So this green slopes right to left. It's like this. And I can just tell by looking at the grain that's going with the slope that it is going to break that way. That is something that kind of will take you to the next level, is being able to read that grain. If I was sitting here and unsure of a putt, if it doesn't really show itself on what it's going to do contour wise, then I'm going to get down and really look at what the grain's doing. And if the grain's moving one way and I really can't tell where it's going to break just off my naked eye, I'm probably going to trust the grain and what the grain tells me. So if this was a straight putt and the grain was going, say, that way, and I can see the grain going that way, I'm probably going to play it just left to right a fraction, because I know, if anything, if I'm not sure, I'll probably go with the grain just a hair, okay? So as I'm doing my walk around, I'm looking at the grain and seeing what that's doing, okay? Seeing whether it's long and furry so I might catch it, or if it's really fine and precise, or it might be quicker, okay? So that's all taking place in my head while I'm walking around. And then, like I was saying, I picked out a high point, okay? So high point being the apex of where I think my ball is going to break at. So, for instance, if this is a hole, straight line, and the slope's going here, and then starts to drop down towards the hole here, so ball the hole in a straight line here, the contour of the green's going to make it break this way. Up here would be the apex of the break, okay? So I've since picked my apex out in my walking around, and now it's my turn to putt. So I'm going to look at that apex, and what I do personally, you don't have to do this, what I do personally is I go to the apex of the putt. So I'm here at the apex, or I'm just behind it. I'm not going to stand on the apex, but I'm just behind the apex, and now I'm seeing what pace I think I need from that point on to get in the hole. Because that's all you really need. All you really need is a point from the apex to the hole, and what you think is to do from that point is, I think, the most important part of the putt. Okay, so I read the apex, and I'm gonna use a quick terminology real fast on how I look at a hole, and you can adopt this if you want or not. Great, but as I'm seeing the high point and the apex, I'm visualizing that line. We've talked a lot about picking out targets and finding a spot to hit instead of actually the hole. So the apex of my putt is usually that spot I'm trying to hit. If there's not a spot on the green that gets me to my apex, then I'll find someone else. I'll find something else. But ideally, the spot I'm trying to hit is right around the apex of my break. So with that, I'm thinking, we'll backtrack for a sec. With that, I'm looking at the hole as a clock. You're thinking, what the hell, Cade? You're looking at the hole as a clock. Why are you doing that? Because, say, we'll imitate this hole right here, but just facing the camera. So the hole's here, and it's breaking right to left. So I think the ball's going to go in around 3:30 or 3, okay? It's somewhere in that range, I think. So from 6 o'clock being here, noon being here, I think the ball's going to come in about, actually, we'll say 3:30 or 4. 3 is a little too high. We'll say 4 o'clock, okay? Just now by taking another look at it. I think the ball's going to go in about 4 o'clock. So that's where my mind goes to, is I see that 4 o'clock ball on my visualization going in on that hand of the clock. So now going to my apex, I'm going to try and envision that 4 o'clock line. And usually, if you're doing it right, the apex of your break is going to be a straight line to where you think that ball's going in at. So you see it's starting to click. It's starting to make sense. So I'm sitting back here thinking 4 o'clock in my head. I'm going to go to the high point of the break of the contour of where I think it's going to now start going back towards the hole. I see it right there. I'm now behind the apex for me. I confirm in my head, I think it's going to be at the 4 o'clock hand. And now my biggest thing is, holy cow, I got to get the speed right. I'm going to make this sucker, okay? So now my whole thing is, I'm trying to hit that apex with the proper pace to where once it starts turning back, it's got enough speed to get to the hole, okay? I know you guys are thinking, holy cow, Cade, you do all this stuff on the time you're on the green and you still play fast? Yeah, I do, because I've worked at it for a while, okay? I've done this for a long time, reading greens, playing golf, so I've kind of been able to do it fast in my head. But you're not going to be able to do it fast just to start, okay? You got to come out to these greens here and work on find that high point, finding a routine you do, and getting good at it, okay? So, for instance, when people are putting, I'm doing my walk around. When it's my turn, I get behind it. I see 4 o'clock. I get to the apex. I confirm that pace. And then I get back, and I take one practice stroke and hit it. So what? That's probably like 30 seconds when it's actually my time to putt. That's enough, or that's ample time to not be deemed or considered slow in the greens, okay? If I'm doing it right, and I'm doing it properly, I'm not gonna be deemed a slow player because I went to a high point of my break or my putt and made sure that I was seeing what I was seeing from behind the ball, okay? If someone does get mad, then they just have then they're fast players, and then they read greens differently. You see a lot of people who just walk behind the ball and hit it, and if they're that good at reading greens and they're just that skilled, good for them. Shake their hand, tip your cap, and say, I wish I was you. Unfortunately, that's not me. Putting is probably the worst part of my game, and it's something I have to work on every time. So I take that time and make sure that I do my walk around while people are putting. I go to my high point. I visualize the break. I visualize the slope. I see the contour. I go to the high point of the slope. I make sure that my 4 o'clock line or my 4 o'clock entry or point of entry still looks good from the high point of the break. And that's all done in a matter of seconds, okay? A minute tops. I'll probably never take a mid-hit a putt, but I'm still doing all that in my head in that amount of time, okay? So get out here and practice your routine, and don't let being fast on the putting green be an excuse why you're not a good putter. Don't be like, oh, they just walk up and hit it, so I do the same thing. No. Are they the same golfer as you? Do they hold the same handicap as you? No. So do your own thing, okay? Don't let the group around you dictate what you're doing on the greens, okay? So I did my walk around. I did my high point. I still think I got 4 o'clock, and now it's just pace, okay? The thing I was talking about importance-wise, line is great, but if you don't have pace, it doesn't matter, okay? So I want to be sure I hit that high point with the spot, or I hit that spot with the proper pace I need for it to die in the hole, okay? So let's see if all my work is paid off. So I'm aiming at that apex break. Now I'm just trying to hit that point I have picked out. Okay, so obviously my point was too high, guys. So I read it wrong. I might have pushed a little bit, but I don't believe so. So we'll go one more time. So this is just going to be a quick adjustment. Obviously, you don't get 2 putts on the green, but now I'm going to lower my apex. So maybe it's going to be more like 430. So 4 o'clock was a little too high on the break side for it to go in at, okay? That's just me misreading the green, okay? So now I'm thinking, okay, I like 430 a little more, maybe even close to 5. I'm now going to go to the high point of that new line I have in my head. Okay, I see that. And now we're going to give another run at it, see if we can't get a little closer. Oh, just missed it low side. So maybe 5 was a little too low. So it was 430 right in there, okay? So I was close, but you're not going to get every read right. And if you do, hats off to you. I wish I had your eyes. But reading greens doesn't come easy. It's just not a skill that you develop by just coming on the golf course and thinking, oh, yeah, I see that slope there. Perfect. It takes talent. It takes skill to be able to read the grain, read the slope, read the contours, and read the speed of the green all at the same time to make your putt. And it's not going to come easy on the golf course. Like I said, you got to get up there on the putting greens and start looking at that. Our putting greens are very sloped up there, so you're able to go do the high point, able to go see the apex of the break, able to do the clock deal. So, that's how I was taught to read greens. I'm sure there's a million ways to read greens that are out there. That's my personal philosophy. It's done me decent so far, and now all I'm trying to do is perfect that and get better at reading the greens, reading that slope. So it's never the way you do it's the wrong way. It's just a matter of getting better at the way you do it, okay, and perfecting that craft. That's all golf really is, guys. So let's do one more putt here. We'll go this far hole back here, and then we'll wrap it up, okay? So now we'll just do one quick putt. It's kind of the same thing, but I'll try and get the good camera angle for you. We'll go right here. Okay, so we'll do one more quick one. Gotcha. Okay, now this is a lot of slope. I don't know if you can see it, but I got a big slope here. So I'm going to get behind it. We'll pretend I've already done my walk around just because I don't want to waste any more time. I've seen this green enough where I do know the slope. So we'll pretend I've done my walk around. I'm envisioning, again, guys, I'm being too high, but I'm envisioning maybe a 3:30 or 4 o'clock. This is a lot of slope to it. So I'm thinking somewhere in the 334 range, right in between there. So I'm going to go to my high point, which is, I got my line visualized. This starts to bring back right around here. So I go to my high point. I confirm that. Actually, I'm going to change it to 4 o'clock. It's not 3:30, it's more 4 o'clock. So now it's a matter of hitting that apex with that proper pace. And we'll see if we can't get that ball to die in the hole at 4 o'clock. So it might have been pretty good, but I hammered it, guys. I mean, I hit it pretty hard. So I was probably a little too high. I gave the green a little too much credit, the slope a little too much credit. They are a little furry and a little freshly punched, so I'm not gonna get as much break, which I should, equate into my green reading process. But I'm just going as is. If as if this was a prime green in tip-top shape. So I gave it too much credit, a little too high, and I also hammered it. So if I hit it too hard, it's going to break less, hence why my putt is a little outside right. And also, I probably played it too high. I was thinking 4 o'clock. It was probably more like 4:30, 5 o'clock, okay? So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I know this philosophy might not best suit all you viewers. If it does sound like something you could be like, if it does sound like something you could get behind and start to implement in your game, great, please do. This was just my personal style of reading greens. It's not perfect. No style is reading perfect. The moment somebody does come out with a perfect way to read greens, I'm sure they're going to make a lot of money. But as of right now, the biggest thing is don't cut any corners, okay, guys? Don't take shortcuts on the greens. If you have such good eye to where you just walk up and hit it and get pretty close, then great, good job. I envy you. I'm not one of those guys, so it makes me that makes me do my due diligence. Walk around the green one time, make sure that what I see behind the green or behind the ball is actually what is in front of me on this putt, and then getting behind the ball. And if you're not going to do the high point, the apex, the clock, I think the least you could do is visualize that line and visualize a spot to hit on that line that you want to hit to have that to help that ball go in the hole. I never want to see my students just sitting here looking at the pin and just trying to make it. Visualize, okay, start to imagine it in your head, find a spot, hit that spot, and let's all become better putters. I know I can. I know you guys all can. So let's work together and become great putters out here, because this is where we save our shots, guys. And for me being a longer hitter, it's the most frustrating thing. It's the most frustrating thing, having a 400+ yard par 4, being on in 2 or whatever it may be, and then 3 putts and I have a 5. So it took me more strokes it took me more strokes in a 40-yard radius than it did in a 400-yard length. Okay, that doesn't sit well with me. I'm sure it wouldn't sit well with you guys either. So this is where we can all be better at. This is where we all improve at. So let's take our time and let's become better putters together. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know we're not coming at you with as many videos as we usually have been. if you weren't aware, the shop is opening up. So that is why we've been haven't been on the camera as much. We've been in the shop getting ready for you guys, making it look presentable and making sure that our service levels in there are what you guys need to have a good experience. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys haven't seen us in a while, poke your head in the shop, say hi. If not, we'll see you guys out there on the golf course playing some golf. Awesome. Thank you.